Hello everyone, this is Sajal Debnath, and today I'm going to talk about vRealize Orchestrator (VRO), vRealize Automation or vRA, the way we call it. How you can go ahead and use vRealize Orchestrator to build custom workflows, expose those workflows into vRA to build custom services or say anything as a service, XaaS services. Use it, provide it as a catalog item to the end users so that they can go ahead and use it. And while we build custom workflows, how we can go ahead and use the APIs of different products. Now remember, when you install a plugin for any third-party product or any product integration into vRealize Orchestrator, it not only provides you out-of-the-box workflows for you, but the APIs are also available for you. So when vRealize automation APIs is provided with vRealize Orchestrator, you get all the APIs of vRealize automation are exposed into vRealize Orchestrator. So you can actually build your custom workflows using those APIs. Today I'm going to show you how you can go ahead and explore those APIs and use those APIs, right? So in the blog I have already mentioned that the use case that I'm looking for, and for that I need to build two custom actions, right? uh, so first thing that I need to do is log into vRealize Orchestrator through the client. The moment I log in, I'm by default in the run mode. There are three different modes available in vRealize Orchestrator: run mode, design mode, and administer mode. Run mode is where you get to see the list of all your workflows. You can build your custom workflows or execute those workflows, predefined workflows for you. Design mode, say for example in the run mode, you would get to see a list of all the available workflows for you. Say for example I want to see under vCenter server what are the different workflows that are available for me. These are out of the box workflows for you. You don't need to do anything. You can go ahead and simply run them. In the design mode, you would go ahead and design your own workflows, custom workflows, or custom actions. This is the place where you can build your own custom actions, right? And the administer mode will show you the inventory list, the plugins, the library list, the packages that are available, different authorizations that are available for you. In our case, we will go into design and first build those two custom actions. So to do that, what I will do, I will first create a module for me, new module, because I want those custom actions to be available under my module. A module is nothing but a logical segregation or separation between different custom actions or different actions. So I want my custom actions to be available under my module, the module that I'm going to create, so that it will not be mixed up under the different module names. So I've just created one module, org.vml.sajaldemo. I would go ahead and create my first action there. The name of the action would be list business group, right? Business groups, that's the name of the action. I will go ahead and give the script here and then explain the script. So what I'm doing here, I'm just defining an array which will hold the name list of all the business group names. The array name is bg names, and then the first thing that I need to do is how I can go ahead and explore the APIs. The first area where I can explore the APIs when I try to write any script is on the left hand side. This is search API area. See, the thing is, I want to find anything that is related to business group, because I want to find out the list of business group that is there, right? So business group, I can see that there are typical scripting class there by default methods that are already available there. So the one that I'm looking for is get business group ID, or request business groups that I can see. um, what is most intriguing for me, what is interesting for me is this entities finder. So what this does, if I go to selection, it will tell me what it does. I go to selection, it says that this is a method. It gets all business groups for a host, right? And it takes the input as the VCAC cafe host, the host it will take, the host object it will take as an input. So I need to find out which, how to call this method. I can simply right click on it and copy paste. This is the method name, right? But I cannot directly call a method. I will have to find out under which class or which object entity it is defined. So I can go ahead and but this is where it is. This is the green button. I can see this VCAC Cafe Entities Finder. This entities finder that allow executing queries against tenant catalog items and so on. So actually, I can use this class to query any vCafe host for different entities. Like for example, admin catalog items. Find admin catalog items. Uh, I would get the catalog items, find approval policy. I can use this method on the vCafe host to get the approval policies. Similarly, what I want here, I want to find the business groups. So what I would do, I would give the class name first or the object name first, dot the method. Now for this, I need to find the cafe host. How do I find the cafe host? Right? I know for sure that in vRO term it is known as VCAC VCAC CAFE, right? This is the cafe. So what I can see, there are a lot of modules that are available, but what I want to say probably VCAC host. I can see that this is the VCAC host, that is the type. If I go to the selection, it says that VCAC host is uh, it has name, ID, display name, tenant, username. But VCAC host will not give me what I want. I want to get the which host, VCAC cafe host object name, right? So I can use a method find all for type, right? So I can simply copy it and search it into the API Explorer, see where this method is defined. Sorry, where this method is defined. So it is defined under server. If I go to the selection, I see that all about servers, VMO server is defined under the server. The set of functions to interact with the VMO server. Under that, I have find all for type. This particular method, it takes an input type and query, right? If I had multiple types, I can simply query it using my own query string. So I need to call this method. Server is the object, so I will just call this method using VCAC cafe VCAC host. I want to find out, find all for type, uh, type of VCAC cafe VCAC host, store it into the cafe host parameter or say variable, and call out get business groups method from a VCC cafe entities finder uh, class, right? Store the return values into business groups variable, and then I will loop through business groups and store the name of each business group into BG names array, and at the end I will return the BG names. One thing to note here, this particular scripting window, it tells you where there, if there is any syntax error or if there is any other error that's available. I simply delete it and the error will be gone, right? So it tells you. Here I have mentioned that return is BG names, which is an array of strings. So I need to change the return type here. I need to make it as array of string. Now my action is complete. When this action would be called, it would return and return an array of string of all the business group names. So I will go ahead and save and close, right? Next, I will create another action item which will return me a list of the entitlements, right? So I will go ahead and again copy paste the code, the script for this particular action item. It's a similar program, similar script which we have just seen. So I'm not going to elaborate this script. It's the same script. That similar way you will find the APIs. I'll just change the return type. It's returning array of strings again, and I will save and close. Next, what I need to do, I will go ahead and create a workflow, custom workflow for me. Add user to BG entitlements, right? So I will go ahead and explain this particular workflow. I can give it a version, description, put it a description. It's always best practice to describe what this particular workflow will do, so that you can keep a tab for future reference. Now I will declare the attributes. That the attributes, as I have mentioned in my blog post, that the attributes are like global variables. They would be available throughout the course of the workflow. I may use multiple workflows, but I can always call on these variables. So the first attribute is business groups, which is a type of array VCAC business group. So you can just simply search by the name, and you can find that particular type. Simply accept and it will change the default type. So mm, and the value is not set. The description, a little bit of description, that would be good, so that you get to know later on that what this particular attribute does. The final BG, the final business group that I'm going to, where user needs to be added. User is going to select this business group name, and I'm just going to find out VCAC cafe host, the entitlement, and the last one is entitlement list. So as I've said, I'll just show you an attribute changing, how you can change. Say its name I would give test, and then type I can change it to anything. Say VCAC host, and I can select it as VCAC. I get to see this VCAC host and VCAC cafe host. Remember that VCAC cafe host is your vRA appliance, and whereas VCAC and VCAC host is your IaaS host, right? So I will simply delete this, and then next in the import, see, I'm running this workflow. The three things that I want the input from user is business group name, the BG name. He is going to select a business group name. He is going to provide the username and the entitlement names. So he is going to select multiple entitlements. You can select one or more. So when BG group, the BG name is a string entity, username is a string type, entitlement names is an array of strings, because I want multiple values to be stored. One interesting point to note, both the actions, business group, list business groups, and list all entitlements, written, both of them return an array of strings. But here the input, I'm going to use those to show with the list of business groups to the users. But here they would see, select only one business group name. In case of entitlements, he's going to select multiple. So that's the type difference, right? The schema is, I'm going to create two different scriptable tasks. Uh, I can simply go ahead and click and drag scriptable tasks into it. That's how I have created two scriptable tasks. So one is add user to business, another one is add user to entitlement. Presentation is where the most interesting part of this thing is happening, or this workflow is happening. So whenever I create any input, it would automatically come under the presentation tab, right? So first, for BG name, I have select one parameter. So I add property. You can see that these are all the properties that are available for you. You can select any one of them as per your requirement. what I have seen selected is predefined answers, and for value I can give static value or OGNL. OGNL is something which I'm going to use. I can click on that and then see list business groups, right? So I can select a business group and apply that. This should be the predefined values, predefined answers for this particular field. Username, it's just going to be plain username, and the entitlement lists for this, again I would select list all, and I can select the one that I want. So whenever I would run this workflow, actually these actions will be run first, and pre-populated lists will be shown to us. We will just see it in action shortly. Let's go to the schema, the first script that I have created. So the next element is add user to entitlements. The inputs for this, I can always bind the inputs and outputs. Right, so input for this is BG name, because I want to know the business group name. The business groups, the list of business groups, that attribute I will use here. The username I will use final business group and VCAC cafe host. These are all attributes, input attributes for this. Output, I'm not giving any output here. I'm not doing any exception handling. Probably you should go ahead and do that, but I have, for this example, I have not done any exception handling here. The visual binding is very important. Here you can do a troubleshooting that, okay, what is coming. So these are all the variables that is defined in this particular workflow, and these are the input parameters that it is taking, from where it is taken, right? And finally the scripting, right? Let's pop it out. You can again see that the list of the input parameters are available here, and you can go ahead and search the APIs. API Explorer, whenever you go ahead and build your own custom workflows, you can always select the APIs Explorer and search your own variables or methods. Search for the methods, search for the classes, different attributes as well, right? So what I'm going doing here is I'm writing entire script under a try and catch situation. So if I try whatever is I'm trying, that if it's successful it's fine, if it fails something, it's just held in the catch section and it shows out a error code for me, right? Now the first thing that I'm doing is getting a list of the business groups, right? I'm getting a list of all business groups. We have seen this method and this class defined in the action. I'm running the same thing, getting a list of business groups, and we're matching that. User has given us BG name, the business group name they have selected. So I'm going through all the business groups and selecting wherever the match is found. I'm storing that business group variable into the final BG variable, right? Then I'm getting a list of all the usernames that are there under that particular business group. I want to see whether that user is already added or not. So I'm finding it in a usernames variable, and then if username size is that is there are any user that is available, then I'm just adding it into the usernames of that particular parameter. Defining already exists parameter or the variable. Now if size is non-zero, right, then I will I will go ahead and check whether user is already added to the business group or not, right? If it's zero, there is no user added, then I don't need to go ahead and check it. But if there are existing users, then I need to check whether that user is already exists or not. And if the user is already not existing in this particular business group, then I will go ahead and add the user to the business group. And for that we are going to use get infrastructure business group service and then update method on that, right? You can see all these details. Again, I will simply go ahead and search the method. I will go to the API Explorer and I would search for it. I can see that, go to the selection. I can see create infrastructure client. It creates a REST client for the infrastructure services, and return type is VCAC infrastructure client. It is defined under VCAC cafe host, this particular entity, this particular object. So I'm just calling out that those methods, and say for example get infrastructure business groups service. I want to find out where this particular method is defined. I will go ahead and search for it. Again, it is under VCAC Cafe infrastructure client, get infrastructure business groups method. If I go to the selection, I can see that it is VCAC Cafe business group service. This is what it is going to return for me, and I'm updating that particular parameter. So when I update it with the final BG, it will update the final BG and return me the final BG business group. This is how I am adding the user. The next script for us is add user to entitlements, right? So again, it's a similar try and catch within the try and catch block. Here I'm getting the entitlement list, checking whether which entitlement lists user has chosen, and then I'm using system get module validate object that particular entitlement name, and getting the host name. I'm getting the client for that, and then checking whether already exists or not. Mm, if the user is already is exist into the entitlement, we will throw out an a warning of throughout a warning, and then go ahead and if the user is not there, then we will go ahead and add the user to the entitlement. This is the entire workflow, right? So we can go ahead and save and close this workflow, and then let's say we have this, we can run this workflow. So it shows me a list of the business groups that is available there, and for the entitlement names, it shows me a list of the entitlements that's available there. So I can insert a value, and I can get both of them. I can accept, right? I will just create, you want to click on cancel, and we want to run this particular workflow from our vRealize automation server. So we have an workflow which we want to run, working workflow. So we will go ahead and log into vRealize automation server. First, let's go ahead and check into business groups. I can see that there are two different business groups that are defined in my environment: test and test new. Let's see what are the who are the members. There is, I can see there are no user roles that are added into test, and there are no that are added under user role into test new as well. Again, let's see the entitlements. There were two entitlements, test one and test new one, right? The members are IAS admin and VCAC admin. For test 1, test new one, just IAS admin. Let's go ahead and create, say, test 3, and we will just add this user as an IAS admin. We will add this particular user, we will make it active. Okay, under this, let's keep it simple. So we have three different entitlements there. Now we'll go ahead and design our XaaS service. We will create one XaaS blueprint. So when I click on new, I get to see all the workflows that are defined under the orchestrator server. You see all the listing. I want to see this add user to BG entitlements. See all the parameters that we have created there in the vRealize orchestrator are already available here. All the input parameters, BG name, username, and entitlements. There are no output parameters here. So we could go ahead and change the name, add user to BG, and entitlements. The description is already pre-populated here. Right, I can give it a version 1.0.0. Just one point to note, make available as a component in the design canvas. If I select this option, it will be available as a component in design canvas. I can take this particular workflow or this particular item and use it in the other other blueprints as well. So selected business group name, these are the three variables. I can change the way it looks. So entity type is string, the drop down value is there. So I will select it as a drop down value, default value. I'm not going to select anything else because I'm already selecting the default values in the workflow. Otherwise we could have created, just one point to note, I want to showcase that if I had selected external and then add external value, it shows me a list of all the actions that are available. So actually, instead of using the presentation form in VRO workflow, I could select them here as well, list entitlements, right? And I could select these action items to pre-populate the forms here as well. This is very important to know that not only I can configure it from presentation tab in VRO workflow, I can configure it from vRA form builder as well. Right? I'll for this example I will just select as it is. Username to be added, it's a text field, and list of entitlement names, it's a checkbox list. I want to keep it like that. Simply apply. Next, I will just go through next, next, and finish. So add user to BG and entitlements. I will publish this and go to administration, catalog items, add BG to entitlements, configure it, give it to a tied up to a service, say XaaS service, make it news and noteworthy. And under entitlements, I need to entitle it towards it under test 1. So I will give this add user to BG and entitlements, finish. So this particular user IAS admin has rights to this particular entity. I can see that add user to BG and entitlements is there. If I go ahead and request it, I'd be able to select the business group name, say test new, add user, say user1 at lab.local, and I want to add this user to all of the three entitlements. I click submit. Okay, let's go to the requests box, requests tab, and see the, I can see that it's under progress. If I go back, I can see that it is already running. See, it has run and it's finished. If I can check the variables, I can check the variables. I can see the logs that adding user to business group test new, user added to business group test new, assigning user to entitlement, assigning user assigned, assigning user to entitlement test 3 and test 1 new. So I already know that this workflow has successfully ran. So I can check that this particular run was successful to see whether it was really added or not. Let's go to the entitlements. Test 1, I can see that user 1 has already been added, right? That's correct. That's what we were looking for. I can see in the next entitlement and the third entitlement also it has been added. Let's check into business groups. We can go to business groups, test new, the members. Yes, we can see that user 1 has already been added, right? So let's go ahead and run this particular catalog item again. So it's available under XaaS. I can go ahead and request it. This time I want to add the user to test business group, and the user is user 3 at lab.local, and I want this particular user to be added to test 1 entitlement, nothing else, only test 1, right? So let's submit this. Go to the requests tab. I can see it's in progress. Let's go back and check the run. Yes, add user to business entitlements. It has successfully run. Go back, check into vRA. It is successful. Go to administration under business groups. Under test, I can see that user 3 is already added. And if I go back and check the entitlements, I can see under test 1 user 3 is already added. And let's check the other entitlements. User 3 is not added. User 3 is not added, right? So this concludes the demo. uh, we have seen how we can go ahead and build custom workflows into vRO using the APIs and export those workflows into vRA to build a XaaS service and provide it as a catalog item. Thank you for watching. Uh, have a nice time.